Yo guys, it's Haunting Lime and welcome back to my channel, and let's welcome the new Charmhole team. So, in my opinion, this is probably the most disgusting team to be released in a long time, due to the sheer fact that it's such a punishing team, even worse than I'd say Grasshole, due to the fact that Alolan Ninetales has a decent amount of bulk to it, and also the Whimsicott has a decent amount of bulk to it. So it's a really destructive team, and it can really hurt a lot of teams due to the composition. So guys, before anything, please subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification, also click the like button, it really helps out. So this is a showcase of two sets of this team. I've heard how good it is actually in the higher ranks, and obviously with the release or the changes to Weather Ball that Alolan Ninetales received, it's actually made this Charmhole team a lot stronger. So onto a favorable lead, unfavorable lead into the Medicham. So switched that into the Whimsicott due to the fact that it takes reduced counter damage. So this team, I know a lot of people might not like it, but it is really strong in the high reloads. So you kind of want to build a team that can actually counteract this team, because this team actually will be the new Grasshole team that was running around the last few seasons. And in my opinion, like I said before, it's probably worse because it's actually fairly tanky, and Charm is such an annoying fast move, and it chunks away so much. And even Alolan Ninetales, I think, is really attack weighted. The Charm does even more damage. So this team, super strong, super annoying, get ready to see everywhere. And this, I won the match against Azumarill, so Whimsicott against this Medicham is fairly good. And now even my Obstagoon doesn't have to see the Medicham, so perfect. So this opponent actually has double fighters, so for this team, double fighters are going to be really strong, because obviously Charm just melts away fighters. Another thing is double dark teams that are seeing a lot more popularity due to the recent Caleb Peng video, where he's reached legend rank with double dark team. So this team's going to be really strong against that. So you might start seeing more Charm teams as you go along to kind of counteract that. So not the best lead overall. I tried to catch a fast move, but I think my opponent was lagging here. I lagged a bit myself. So the strategy here is to basically just Psycho Shock the Azumarill, because it does more damage compared to Weather Ball, and the charms do actually add up quite a lot. So my opponent almost has two play roughs. He switches that here into an Altaria. So at this point, I know my opponent actually has a team really weak to Charm. So another great lineup for me. Obviously not the best lead, but that's the thing about Obstagoon. Obstagoon kind of rounds this team off completely. This team has a weakness to Alolan Marowak, which I've seen once recently, and it wasn't brought out by the Whimsicott save switch, and yeah, it's a lot more harder to kind of regain control. And obviously Obstagoon can take control of that matchup as well, because obviously Alolan Marowak is weak to the dark typing and also the normal typing. So Obstagoon is like the perfect counter for Alolan Marowak. So as you can see, Charm doing all the damage. So for some reason my opponent actually switches that here into the Scrafty, which is obviously a big no-no. The reason why I switched out to Alolan Ninetales here was, I think, the sheer fact that I saw a fighter. I saw the dark typing and the fighting typing, so I just switched out. I should have really switched out into the Whimsicott, because obviously the Galvantula is going to be super effective against both my Obstagoon and my Whimsicott. But it's actually worked out pretty well for me, because I was able to get this Galvantula fairly low as well. I do obviously miss out on my Ninetales. And by the way, Alolan Ninetales is a gem. If you have a chance to get one, or if you already have a Vulpix, do evolve it. It's not too expensive. And obviously I've got a shiny one here which doesn't have the best IVs. My whole team doesn't have the greatest IVs, but this isn't even about IVs anymore. It's all fast move pressure, and obviously Obstagoon to kind of get to the charge moves quickly. And my opponent actually has a Drift Blimp in the back, which isn't great, because obviously my Whimsicott would have been better if I switched it incorrectly against the Scrafty, so you wouldn't have to see it, but sadly it's all it is. And my opponent is trying to farm me down, but he can't. So now he's kind of left himself in that place where he has he's going to also use energy which would have been better on my Obstagoon, and I'm able to actually counter it down, and now I've actually got energy to throw on this Galvantula. So if Galvantula actually had a stored lunge, this would have been GG, but thankfully I'm able to kind of just get to my charge move and take it out. So good game to my opponent. Again, you know, it feels a little dirty playing this team, but hey, everybody's out there playing the meta, you know. It's all the teams at work, and as you can see, I'm having a lot of bad leads, but that's the great thing about this team. It can turn a lot of bad leads into success stories. So my opponent obviously has a normal Ninetales, which is amazing. You know, Weather Ball is amazing on Pokemon as well. So here my Whimsicott save switch is pretty useless, but it's fine. I chunked away at the Scrafty, and the great thing about this team is people normally switch in a little too slowly, and the Charm just destroys them. And here obviously the play is to just build up to the Night Slashes and kind of take out my opponent's Ninetales before it can throw either the Solar Beam, and I do expect it here because also my opponent has a leader energy, and it's just a Weather Ball. Thankfully it's not going to hurt too much, but it does, you know, do a significant amount of health to my Obstagoon. So here I'm able to counter it down, and I do have a cross chop ready for the Scrafty that comes back in, and most likely my opponent is going to shield this because he expects it as well, and I want to switch straight into my Alolan Ninetales. As you can see, the Alolan Ninetales is just chunking away at the Scrafty. It has no play, even a foul play was probably not worth using, to just switch that straight away into the Lantern. But you'll see this Alolan Ninetales take down this Lantern as well. Lantern obviously generates energy fairly quickly, but its only moves it can use is either Thunderbolt or Hydro Pump, so both really chunky moves to get to, and due to the fact, you know, my opponent, well, this little Ninetales has Weather Ball as well, it's actually a really cheap fast move for it to get to, and I get the second one as well. So obviously all that energy is coming into good use. So this little Ninetales actually almost takes out this Lantern, but it's totally fine because I have some farm now on the Obstagoon. And Obstagoon is just one counter away, and because my opponent was so late to switch in, you know, I had so much energy built on this Obstagoon, I can just cross chop it down as well, which is brilliant. So it would have been a lot more dicier if I didn't have all the energy stored. One thing I've learned is playing this team. This is my first time actually playing it. I have been testing Alolan Ninetales out, and to moderate success. Obviously with here as well, you switch in straight into Whimsicott, but the idea is to also throw in a Night Slash because my opponent most likely won't shield it, and this makes the Whimsicott matchup even cleaner because the Charm will do so much. And as you can see, I was lagging so much, took an extra few counters, which wasn't great. Got the boost, but sadly still have to switch out because obviously Obstagoon can't really tangle with Deoxys, and these Rock Slides aren't doing much, and my opponent has to, for some reason he has decided to stay in. That makes me think his team is fully weak to Charm in the back, and it actually is. So he'll Charm it down, and my opponent brings out his next Pokemon, which is, I'm tapping away like a madman, it's actually Lucario. So Lucario is able to counter me down. So this team would have done quite well against my team if, you know, I didn't have a double counter team. And as you can see, these Charms are just chunking away. Even though Lucario has a metal typing, it's resisted. Charms are so obnoxious. I'm able to just charm it down. My opponent still has 2 shields, and there's a number in the back, which is the dream because both my Obstagoon and my Alolan Ninetales has a great matchup against the Umbreon. And as you can see, I'm just throwing all my energy to kind of force the shields from my opponent because I also don't want my opponent to throw all his energy on my so-called Alolan Ninetales because that is my win condition. Obstagoon can do quite a bit, but here I bring it in to kind of absorb all the extra energy it has, and I'm able to get to 2 cross chops, one to get the shield, and the second one is going to be able to almost take it out, which is perfect. I think my opponent was trying to get back-to-back last results, so get close to having last results. Night foul plays wouldn't have taken me out. So you can see this is a 5-0 set. Brilliant team, really good. I've used this for 5 sets today. I'm showing just the first 2 I recorded this morning. I played the other 3 recently and went 5-0. I won't spoil the next one, but you can see a great lead into the Abomasnow. So as you go higher up in the leagues, Abomasnow is practically everywhere, especially Shadow Abomasnow. due to the fact that people have access to it now as well, makes it so much more obnoxious as well. And Abomasnow generally is a great Pokemon. It has really well play against Azumarill and Galarian Stunfisk, and my opponent decides to let that go through, and obviously Cross Chop is quite a strong move. I think my opponent was thinking I'm going to just throw an Ice Slash. It could survive that with more health, but that's one of the reasons why you have Cross Chop on this team as well. I do switch out because obviously I don't want my Obstagoon to be farmed down by this Toxicroak, and I am able to charm it down. So most people, and he surrenders, so you see a lot of surrenders this set as well. Most Toxicroaks do throw the Mud Bomb, but they're actually unable to get to the Sliverbomb afterwards if they're not ahead on farm too much. So again, amazing lead into the Abomasnow. So my opponent does do an amazing swap and catches this Cross Chop on his other Pokemon, onto his Lantern actually. So now it's pretty much bring in the Whimsicott, and there's nothing that this Lantern can do that will really threaten my Whimsicott. And also obviously it's great to bring it in because it doesn't want to see the Abomasnow, and Hydro Pump does quite a bit of damage, but again I'm able to outpace this to the next charge move and charm it down completely. All that fast move pressure just adds up so much. And my opponent actually has a Chestnut, which you're going to see. This is why you run Hurricane on Whimsicott, and boom, takes it out in one shot. My opponent wasn't expecting that, and here pretty much I think he surrenders because, yeah, if he had the chance, I mean, don't get me wrong, I still had my Alolan Ninetales, and that would have totally destroyed it. But yeah, he wasn't expecting the Hurricane. So this is a team that somebody mentioned on Reddit yesterday. I thought I'd try out. Obviously, bad matchup against this Galvantula. I don't really want to see it or take any lunges, so the idea now is to throw this Night Slash. My opponent for some reason does shield this, not sure why. It is obviously reduced damage, so I do switch straight out to my Alolan Ninetales. My opponent for some reason brings out his Obstagoon. Maybe he thought it was just a regular Ninetales because, for some reason. But yeah, Obstagoon has a really bad matchup against Double Charmers, and obviously with that mistake he realizes that he has no win condition, so it must have been a misclick on his part. And yeah, on to the next game. I'll play to my opponent. So this is not the greatest leads, but obviously I have my Double Charmers to save the day. Again, bring in the Whimsicott. My opponent brings in obviously his Galarian Stunfisk as the response. So again, it is difficult to win this match unless you have loads of energy as an advantage. The Grass Knot does quite a lot of damage. The Rock Slides do chunk away, but he needs at least 3 to take you out. So yeah, the idea isn't to really use shields. I did use shields in a later set, and I found that yeah, the Galarian Stunfisk will outpace my Whimsicott into well, the next Rock Slide, so there's no point coming any shields in that matchup. And obviously in this matchup as well, even though you're not able to counter it down with the Obstagoon, he'll only be able to get to a Rock Slide, so which is totally fine because obviously Obstagoon doesn't really want to be, well, too healthy against the Machamp. And obviously my opponent brings out Machamp, and he actually has a Cresselia with Confusion, so a little bit of a spicy pick there. You don't see that often, but obviously it's resisted the Ice type. Well, for some reason I'm not taking too much damage from the Confusion. I think due to the Ice typing. My opponent does throw a Grass Knot, which would have done a fair amount of damage. It doesn't have Stab, but as you can see, because I'm able to generate energy decently well, and Weather Ball is such an amazing spammy move, I'm able to get to 2, and this will get both shields, and I'm actually able to charm this Cresselia down. Well, he lets this one go through because I think he wants to preserve some for his Machamp, but there's no point because Machamp is already solo. This Grass Knot won't take me out, and he brings in the Machamp, and he has to throw energy here. He couldn't farm me down because the next charm would have taken him out. The Cross Shot takes me out, and Obstagoon is one counter away, and one counter away from the Cresselia as well. So well played to my opponent. I did have a matchup where it was a similar team, one obviously with the Azumarill, and I was able to get the Machamp in almost the same health range, but my opponent has a Cross Shot ready, and I was thinking Obstagoon might almost survive it, but no. Obstagoon just completely got destroyed by it. So onto a great favorable lead on this last game. My opponent played this game so well. You know, it left me in a place where I was like, I think this was false confidence when I saw the great lead. I was like, yeah, this is going to be in the bag. And my opponent does an amazing catch here on his Azumarill with this boosted Night Slash. So my mistake here was just switching out straight away into the Alolan Ninetales. I should have tried to catch the Ice Beam or something, and also had the energy ready for the I can't remember the name, his first Pokemon. And again, my mistake there was not shielding the Hydro Pump, which deals so much damage. I'm also able to get this Azumarill, take it out. My opponent does have a Diggersby in the back, so this team, even though I heavily counted it in the beginning, his Diggersby will put in some work against the rest of my team. But he's got so much farm off my Alolan Ninetales that he can just throw fire punches at me constantly, which isn't looking great. So had I stored energy on the Obstagoon, this match would have been a lot more cleaner to win, and it probably would have been in my favor as well if I played it a lot better as well. So here I do catch the fire punch. It does a fair amount of damage, surprisingly. So my opponent brings his Frostlass back in. I do have a Night Slash here, so if I had two, this would have been amazing. This would have got the first shield and the second. So my opponent now is building up to two back-to-back avalanches. We also had one pretty much tied with my first Night Slash, and the second one will take me out. So I'm like one counter away. So great, well played to my opponent. He did amazingly well to catch the charge move, and obviously Whimsicott is going to get Powder Snow down. So great games, guys. I highly recommend trying this team out if you're struggling to climb. It's really helping me get past my so-called elo hell, and yeah, I've climbed like almost a good 150 points with this team already. I did 5 sets, and I highly recommend it. Thank you for watching, and take care.